These are things I've learned from coaches that aren't even wrestling coaches. They were great coaches in other sports. First one, repetition, most important law of learning. John Wooden, he just died at 99. I read his book in 1973. They call me coach. Second greatest coach of all time in any sport. First is Dan Gable. Well, I might be first. Dan Gable is first. John Wooden second. 88 straight basketball games he won at UCLA. 10 national titles in 12 years. It's pretty good. Repetition. That means you got to get a lot of them, not screwing around and get one or two. And then the other one was Paul Bear Bryant, who coached football at Alabama. I read his book too. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Jim Humphrey. I don't know if any of you know who he is, but his son's Reese Humphrey. He was a great wrestler. He just graduated from Ohio State. And at a clinic I went to years ago, he was teaching high crotch. He had a great one. Shoot, his son Reese's is even better. I heard he worked with a kid in New Jersey for 4 hours and got $5,000. What am I doing here? Just kidding. He got $5,000. That guy must have been rich. Anyways, but perfect practice makes perfect. And Hump said at this clinic, he says, I drill thousands and thousands of high crotches. Do you know how many perfect ones I've ever hit? Maybe 2. These guys are moving. They're keeping it from being perfect. But the more you drill it perfect, the better chance you got of getting close to perfect. Okay, the next hold we're going to drill, and we'll come back to breakdowns again, but this time I'm going to start with them flat again. This is probably one of my favorite holds, at least on the top. And if you get really good at it, it's going to work, but you got to be careful with officials. I have a picture in my wrestling room in my basement of Dan Gable doing this in the 1972 Olympics. I mean, it worked in the Olympic Games. And all it is, it's starting out with the wrist. And again, I don't pull it in with my hand, I drive over it with my legs. And I can't pin when I'm on his hips. I'm going to come off of his hips, and I'm going to keep the pressure down on him. Look at my chest still on his shoulder blades. And I'm coming up to show you. I'm going to grab the wrist with 2 hands, but I'm keeping the pressure down. Now, I'm not going to torque on Mark because I want to keep him as my partner. I don't want him to leave the mat. So I'm here. But that keeps his head from coming up. And now I keep walking out to the front, and I'm going to dig his shoulder out clear on the far side over here. Look where my knee is. It's in tight to his neck. And then from here, my shoulder, or my elbow's on his shoulder blade right now. There's pressure right there. And I'm going to straighten this arm out, and I'm going to pull it a little bit to me. You pull it too much, and you're going to get it stuck. And then I come back. I call this my thread through. Thread through. We're right back to our pushes. We've still got pressure down, so we can come up. His hips may come up. Come up to me. And you can do that. But I still got his head down. And remember on the crush where I said don't go that way, go in a circle? Remember that? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to hold his knee. Right there. Now he's back down. Now he adjusts. And I'm right back here in the half of my crusher. And there's my block on his arm again. Okay, again. So I'm capturing the wrist. I drive over the wrist with my legs, keeping him pressure down on his, I don't want his upper body coming up. And I'm coming off. I'm going 2-on-1 here. You got to dig it out. He may even grab his fingers so he can't grab anything. I've never had to do that. Here. Keep pressure down. Dig his shoulder out. I want my knee in tight here. 2-on-1. I can turn his arm and it locks it. Turn it this way. It locks his arm. Look where the elbow's at. In his shoulder blade. There's my lever. Here. And then come back to here. Get good position and drive him over. Finishing good. If I'm high, reverse half. Hook though. I don't want him to be able to do this on me. And I lose the whole hold. Keep it hooked. And then come back to half. Okay, got it?